Here's a bit of an overview of what was going on all throughout this time. So we've stopped the story here for a moment, and now we're going to kind of give a bit of an overview of what's been going on basically since they left Egypt. Here are the stages in the journey of the Israelites when they came out of Egypt by divisions under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. At the Lord's command, Moses recorded the stages in their journey. So there's a clear reference to Moses writing this down. I don't know how detailed his original diary may have been if he kept something like that, and how condensed this may be compared to that, or if this is it, if this is literally what he wrote and we have it verbatim word for word. I don't know. Nobody does. Nobody can say. But this is a clear, explicit mention of Moses writing this stuff down. This is their journey by stages. The Israelites set out from Ramesses on the 15th day of the first month, the day after the Passover. They marched out boldly in full view of all the Egyptians, who were burying all their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down among them, for the Lord had brought judgment on their gods. The Israelites left Ramesses and camped at Succoth. They left Succoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. They left Etham, turned back to Pi-Hahiroth, to the east of Baal-Zephon, and camped near Migdol. We read about all this in Exodus. They left Pi-Hahiroth and passed through the sea into the desert, and when they had traveled for 3 days in the desert of Etham, they camped at Marah. They left Marah and went to Elim, where there are 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. They left Elim and camped by the Red Sea. They left the Red Sea, or the Sea of Reeds, and camped in the desert of Sin. They left the desert of Sin and camped at Dophkah. Now all of that we've read about. Everything that we have read about, everything that we've got done covering so far, we read about in some level of detail back in Exodus and into Leviticus and even at the beginning of Numbers. But there's going to be a lot of material here in the upcoming verses which are completely skipped in the actual narrative written in Numbers, because this is what they would have been doing during that long 38 plus year gap between Numbers 19 and 20, of which nothing is written. So as such, we really don't know where these places are, how long they were there. This is all just mysterious. Moses apparently wrote this down. He would have been there for all of it, so I think we can assume he knows what he's talking about, because he would have been there the whole time. But this is all, we skip through this stuff here all in that gap between Numbers 19 and 20 without comment. They left Dophkah and camped at Alush. They left Alush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. Well, we read about that. Anyway. They left Rephidim and camped in the desert of Sinai. They left the desert of Sinai and camped at Kibroth Hattaavah. They left Kibroth Hattaavah and camped at Hazeroth. So now we're getting to the point where there's absolutely no information recorded about some of these, any of this stuff, really. They left Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. They left Rithmah and camped at Rimmon Perez. They left Rimmon Perez and camped at Libnah. They left Libnah and camped at Rissah. They left Rissah and camped at Kehelathah. They left Kehelathah and camped at Mount Shepher. They left Mount Shepher and camped at Haradah. They left Haradah and camped at Machaloth. They left Machaloth and camped at Tahath. They left Tahath and camped at Terah. They left Terah and camped at Mithkah. They left Mithkah and camped at Hashmonah. They left Hashmonah and camped at Moseroth. They left Moseroth and camped at Bene Jaakan. They left Bene Jaakan and camped at Hor Haggidgad. They left Hor Haggidgad and camped at Jotbathah. They left Jotbathah and camped at Abronah. They left Abronah and camped at Ezion Geber. They left Ezion Geber and camped at Kadesh in the desert of Zin. So now we're getting back up to where we are right now. They left Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor on the border of Edom. At the Lord's command, Aaron the priest went up to Mount Hor, where he died, on the first day of the 5th month of the 40th year after the Israelites came out of Egypt. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. The Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev of Canaan, heard the Israelites were coming. They left Mount Hor and camped at Zalmunna. They left Zalmunna and camped at Punon. They left Punon and camped at Oboth. They left Oboth and camped at Abarim on the border of Moab. They left Aim and camped at Dibon Gad. They left Dibon Gad and camped at Almon Diblathaim. They left Almon Diblathaim and camped in the mountains of Abarim near Nebo. They left the mountains of Abarim and camped in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. There in the plains of Moab, they camped along the Jordan from Beth Jeshemoth to Abel Shittim. I have a cat who's standing right there, right next to the camera. I mean, like right next. That's her body right there. So this could be tricky. On the plains of Moab by the Jordan, across from Jericho, the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you cross the Jordan into Canaan, drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you. Destroy all their carved images and their cast idols, and demolish all their high places." Not a trace of this stuff is supposed to be left, because otherwise they will provide temptations to the Israelites, and they do, because they won't destroy all this stuff. "Take possession of the land and settle in it, for I have given you the land to possess. Distribute the land by lot according to your clans." You stop that. You stop that right now. "To a larger group, give a larger inheritance, and to a smaller group, a smaller one. Whatever falls to them by lot will be theirs." And I think we can assume that God will be overseeing the lot casting. "Distribute it according to your ancestral tribes. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land," and they won't completely do this, "those you allow to remain will become barbs in your eyes and thorns in your side. They will give you trouble in the land where you will live, and then I will do to you what I plan to do to them." And they're not going to drive out the inhabitants of the land. They're going to allow a good chunk of them to stay. And they will, in fact, cause problems for the people for centuries to come. We will read about that. We will actually spend a great deal of time reading about that. That is Lily the cat. Lily, the fat princess of a cat. The pampered, spoiled princess of a cat. Lily. This is what that is. Say hi, Lily. Meow. Well, that's your way of saying hi. Okay.